Yeah, hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining
Hi.
our review today. This is Syed Hassan. I have two esteemed doctors, okay, Dr. J and Dr. Senthil, and we are truly excited to dive into the book Stolen Focus: Why You Can't Pay Attention by author Johann Hari. This book, I would say, is a very gripping exploration, okay, of one of the most important and a pressing crisis of our time, which is our ability to focus deeply has disappeared. So, when we are saying this, we will talk about the book in detail. It is 12 chapters, and I'll cover the first few chapters, and Dr. J and Dr. Sindhu will cover the others. Having said that, before we get into the book, we owe it to the author, okay, to talk about him first. Johann Hari, okay, is a British writer and a journalist. He was born in Scotland. Okay, he was educated in King's College, and in the last 10 years, he has written in all the major newspapers, including New York Times, The Guardian, Le Monde. He has covered many complex social issues as part of his writing. And if you look at Harry's other books, he's written two other books that I'm aware of. One is Chasing the Scream. And interestingly, this book became the core for inspiring an Oscar nominated film. I don't know how many of you have seen it, The United States versus Billie Holiday. And there's a second book called Lost Connections. Okay, and again, typical of Johann Hari, it is about depression, anxiety, and this investigation around it. And I would strongly encourage you view TED Talks. Okay, it has been viewed more than 100 million times worldwide. So that's about author Johann Hari and his book. As we get into this, like I was mentioning at the beginning, it's a deep dive about the society, especially the modern society. Okay, the tech, the culture part of it, how it is all coming together and eroding and affecting our attention span, the ability to concentrate, and damaging our mental well-being. So the author talks about how our attention spans, okay, have alarmingly declined over a period of time. Okay, it has been a sudden, rapid decline. Okay, and he talks about many facts. Okay, why we struggle to concentrate in today's fast-paced world, especially which is technology driven. Okay, so he's saying that the present teenagers, as we are talking, can focus on a single task only for 65 seconds at the maximum. Only 65 seconds. Very low level of attention or ability to focus on a single task. So what he does is he has gone into the root cause of these issues, and he has uncovered 12 different root causes. Again, he has covered it as 12 different chapters in this book. Okay, and it ranges from a variety of topics. He talks about the mind wandering, why it is important to allow the mind to wander, which can foster creativity, imagination, ability to connect the dots, okay, and understanding the answers or solutions to very complex issues, etc., but just allowing the mind to wander, which we don't do now. We think it's a crime to just allow the mind to wander or spend time staring at something, the trees, or enjoying the breeze, etc. We don't. Okay, so he talks about our inability, okay, and the erosion in all of this. Okay, so he talks about it, saying that do we think it's just a personal failure that we are unable to focus? So what has stolen our focus? It is not just the individual's failure, but he says that it's a combination of external forces, okay, which have come together, including the corporate interests, the Google, the Facebooks of the world. Okay, they have systemically undermined our ability to concentrate. So in the book, he introduces the readers, okay, about different practices. He talks to different people, experts all over the world, and then he offers hope, saying that hey, it is still possible to reclaim your attention. It's still possible, okay, to urge both all of us and the society to come together in this crucial fight for a simple topic, but a very important topic of mental clarity and focus, which he believes is stolen from us. Having said that, the book starts with an interesting introduction. Okay, so I enjoyed reading that introduction about his personal story, about his 9-year-old godson Adam, who had a big fan following of Elvis Presley. And so he promised his godson that, hey, one day I will take you to Graceland, okay, the Elvis Presley's home, and I will show you that. But as always, like all our promises that we do to our children, he was not able to keep up to that promise. Okay, and it took almost a decade when Adam's world shifted completely. Adam's world was now on endless screens, okay, moving between computers, iPads, okay, and also social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So our friend Adam, okay, his son, the author's son, godson, had gone beyond repair. Okay, so what he did was, the author was thinking, hey, what do we do now? Okay, even he was not, say, someone who can be proud of his own lifestyle, the author himself. So he said, hey, Adam, why don't we do one thing? Why don't we go to Graceland now? Okay, Adam was somewhere around 17 or 18 now. He was surprised that, hey, the dad is calling me to Elvis Presley's house now, okay, to Graceland. But he said, that's fine. So let's do it. So Adam was kind enough. Okay, typical US teenagers are not very kind enough in accompanying their dads to a trip to a long distance, okay, to see somebody's house. But he agreed because he liked Elvis Presley. So our author's intention was, let me rekindle his passion, okay, of music, attention, and take him away from the distraction of the digital stuff, etc. So both the dad and the son reach Elvis Presley's house. Okay, and to the author's complete shock, okay, he realized that even as Adam entered into Elvis Presley's house, he was a big fan of Elvis Presley, continued to be so, but Adam's only focus was on his phone, okay, and his iPad, etc., okay, and did not register Elvis' world. So Arshia will also remember, okay, my wife Arshia, who is on this meet, okay, will also remember that we as a family, okay, me, wife, and my daughter, okay, we went on the Europe trip, okay, and in the Europe trip, we were in the car, we went to the Roman Colosseum, okay, and that time all of us were very busy with our phones, and then I had to influence both my wife and daughter, okay, to get down from the car, okay, and I had to first tell the story of the Roman Colosseum, starting with those, say, the fights which used to happen, how men and animals used to be put across, etc. I had to do a long pitch, okay, to make them get out of the car, get out of their phone, and get into the Colosseum. Okay, I was reminded of that when I was reading this book, okay, of how the author felt, okay, requesting Adam, we have come all the way, okay, the room was called a jungle room, etc., an artificial room, okay, it's filled up with history, okay, so why don't you, say, just keep your phone off, okay, and look to your left, look to your right, and enjoy the place that you wanted to come, etc., but yeah, Adam was very upset with his dad, that he got irritated, okay, and still he was fixated to the phone, and so this is how it happens. It is not just Adam, okay, it is millions of kids today. They have lost the ability, okay, to sustain their attention over a period of time beyond a few minutes. Impossible to hold attention, and the only reason for this is the digital distraction and the reels and the Facebook alerts and the Google alerts, etc., the email alerts, okay, which have spoiled all of us, especially the younger generation. So that's how the book kicks off, okay. So what I will do now is, like what I was saying at the beginning, I am going to cover the first 5 chapters, and my friends Dr. J and Dr. Senthil will cover the next few. The first 5 chapters starts with chapter 1, which is about increase in the speed, okay, of everything that we do. Okay, everything that we do, and we think that we are all masters of speed, and increase in the switching, okay, moving from one screen to another, one tab to another, etc. The book starts with chapter 1, which is increase in speed, switching, and filtering, okay, where he talks about disconnecting from the internet, okay, devices that our modern life, okay, is dominating all of us. So what he did was, he took a call saying that, hey, I am not going to get bowed down or bogged down by this. I'm going to go on a 3-month retreat, okay, to Provincetown, and when I'm going there, I'm going to take a basic phone, okay, basic phone without internet, okay, without any connectivity to the external world, etc., just incoming, outgoing calls, and no messages, no Google, no YouTube, no Facebook, Okay, and he takes the call, and he goes to a shop and tries to buy the phone. The shopkeeper is very upset with him on what kind of phone are you asking? Okay, which is less than basic. So it starts with that when people in the society, okay, are reacting to what he is asking for. Okay, very interestingly, but he buys the phone. He buys the phone and goes to province town and starts his committed 3-month digital detox or retreat. Okay, and then he realizes on how he has lost, okay, himself multiple years, okay, multiple years of his life, okay, getting distracted, okay, from say because of just the digital devices. He mentions in the book that, hey, earlier I was able to spend long hours, okay, reading a novel or writing, okay, or entering into very different worlds, okay, where I could enjoy myself in very different worlds, transforming myself, enjoying myself, deep in thought, deep in writing or deep in reading, etc. But now, when he's trying to do anything like this, okay, it is highly disturbed. He's saying that I'm always in a constant distraction. Okay, and I always, even when I'm in the middle of doing something, try to focus. There is this compelling need, okay, for information or to absorb information being thrown at me. Okay, there is lots of information being thrown at me, lots of distractions. Okay, and he was saying that I'm being pulled out, okay, or yanked out by my own thoughts. Okay, and while writing or reading, etc., it's like a invisible, say, set of puppeteers in a puppet show, okay, are pulling him, okay, and throwing him off while he's trying to concentrate or focus. So that's why it's a very normal phenomena that all of us don't realize, okay, but an author like this sits through, thinks about it in terms of how he is being distracted or how all of us are being distracted, how our attention spans are getting reduced very fast, and more importantly, so much of information being thrown at us. Okay, and all of this does impact our cognitive abilities. If you are not able to focus, if you are not able to concentrate, if you are not able to show some attention into the topic or deep dive into a topic, how can the brain practice? How will the brain get that memory or the ability to process things deeply if you are getting distracted jumping from one topic to another? Okay, that's what he talks about. And in province town, when he was, okay, he allowed his mind to rest, okay, and engage in deep thinking, okay, and it helped, okay, in a personal reflection, a broader reflection of the things, etc. He could do it very, very well. Some interesting data points, okay, that he had shared as part of this chapter, okay, before we go to the next are very important to know. Data point number 1, just in the last 10 years, human beings have lost 30% of their attention ability. Just in the last 10 years, the ability to focus has gone down by 30%. And in the year 2000, Microsoft says that the attention span dropped from 12 seconds, okay, to 8 seconds. Okay, now our attention span, okay, and to put it, say in a strong way, is less than a goldfish's attention span. Okay, very sad. Okay, that is data point number 1. Data point number 2, is it just for teenagers or just for the regular population? Even for office workers, attention span, ability to focus on a topic is only 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay, and beyond 3 minutes, they get interrupted, they get disturbed, something gets turned into the mailbox, some message comes, the distraction part, etc. As a result, if you lose your attention, okay, just by an incoming WhatsApp or incoming message, etc., as a result, what happens is it takes 23 minutes to regain the attention. Okay, and sometimes we tend to think that, oh, this is multitasking. Okay, I'll do this for 3, I will do the next one, I'll do the next one, etc. It is foolish. Okay, because multitasking, according to the author, reduces productivity by 40%. Okay, and our ability to, say, filter in our brain, okay, and on what is important, what is required to focus, what is required to absorb, etc., in a multitasking model drastically reduces. So remember these statistics. Ability to concentrate or ability to have a sustained focus on a topic, okay, reduced by 30% in the last 10 years with the advent of phones and iPads, etc. And attention span, okay, has dropped from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, less than a fish that we are able to focus and be attentive on now. And in the office, ability to spend time on any topic limited to 3 minutes. And if you get distracted, if you think you're a Superman, you can do many things at a time, remember that it takes 23 minutes to regain concentration from one topic to another. And multitasking, heroes of multitasking, please know that it reduces your productivity by 40%. So these are the topics, or these are the shocking factoids that I would say are coming out as part of the chapter number 1. So I'll go quickly on the other chapters. I think we saw a good introduction about what the context that he is setting, the author is setting for the book, and we also saw the shocking facts that he shares with us as part of chapter 1 and tells us about speaks to us about the importance of these shocking factoids and for us to pick up, okay, so that we are able to focus, concentrate, and ability to get to a flow. So what is flow? That's what is covered in chapter 2. So flow is the state, okay, where we are able to immerse ourselves, fully engage without distraction, immerse in an activity that can fully engage our abilities. Okay, we put in the best there, okay, and focus on it, and it tests your edge, okay, the max that you could do on the capability, fully focused, fully attentive, and in a state of very deep and immersed focus. Okay, that's what is called a flow. You are in the flow now. And if you are in the flow, okay, then your ability to be creative, ability to solve an issue, ability to arrive at a solution for problems, etc., grows multifold. And again, one more shocking factoid, it is 3 times, okay, less frequent, okay, that we are able to get into flows, okay, vis-a-vis what we could do 20 years before. So 20 years before, if we could focus on a topic, get into the flow, pay attention to it, reach the max of our ability, for example, thrice a day, now we are able to do it only once a day. Again, a shocking fact. Again, what has happened in the last 10, 12 years or 10, 20 years? The only thing which has changed is the digital stuff. Okay, so author again and again gives these very important facts for us to consume. Why does that happen? Because of the loads of information being thrown at us. Okay, it's close to some 30 gigabytes of information being thrown at us every day, okay, through different tweets or reels or Facebook or Insta. Without our knowledge, we are consuming close to 30 gigabytes of information. It's like close to some 100,000 words, okay, of information, okay, that we are consuming, and it is an overload, right, on our brain. It is an overload, and it completely confuses the brain on what should I consume, what should I keep, what should I drop, how do I focus on a topic, what should I filter and throw. Okay, all this brain gets completely confused and distracted and does not know how to filter. So if there's a brain filter, it breaks down. Okay, and instead of focusing on deep work, we jump from distraction to distraction. Again, fact number 3, no attention. So not more than 3 minutes. It could be an office goer, it could be a schoolboy, okay, or a schoolgirl. No, not more than 3 minutes. So the author recommends, okay, in this chapter, like what he was recommending on the previous chapter on digital detox, keep your phone off, okay, get into those states, okay, and see and realize yourself what you are feeling. In this chapter, he talks about the flow and says, define very clear goals. Immerse in that goal, engage in meaningful tasks associated with that goal, push and get to your max ability to reach there, and get into that state of very deep focus, very profound focus, attentive focus, and show increased presence in whatever you are doing. That's chapter number 2. Chapter 3, the author talks about, my God, I always feel exhausted. I don't know why. My brain, okay, looks like it is always fogged, okay, or he gives a very interesting example. Looks like my brain is trudging, okay, or going through mud, okay, as if it is soaked in molasses. That's a word that he uses in the book. A very apt metaphor, okay, for the mental exhaustion, okay, by the type of data that we are consuming, okay, and getting confused. He's saying that this mental exhaustion, okay, is in turn leading to 700% increase in burnout symptoms just in the last 10 years. Again, another fact, 700% increase in burnout symptoms and the chronic sleep loss. See, these Amazons of the world don't want you to sleep. Why will they want you to encourage you to sleep if you can wake up at 2 o'clock and look for some footwear and order or some nice clothes to order, etc.? They want you to be always awake, okay, and keep you occupied, engaged, okay, and keep you on. Even the Facebook, for example, he talks about it somewhere in the book, okay, I don't know which chapter, but he says that Facebook can work differently, right? Facebook can help you connect with your friends and say that, hey, there is a friend who's 1 kilometer away who has come. So why don't you go and meet him? Facebook will never encourage such a thing. Facebook will always talk about digital connections, virtual, and linking you up virtually, keeping you tied up in all those artificial stuff, etc. So he's saying that 700% increase in burnout largely because of the digital overload. Sleep loss, 40% increase, okay, because of the digital addiction, etc. Sleep loss, 40%. And 2 hours just to manage, say, emails and notifications every day, okay, is leading to this sleep loss, okay, leading to this burnout and leading to stress increasing by more than 40%. So he talks about digital and these distractions creating our problem in our ability to sleep, ability to relax, rest and be rejuvenated, in turn affecting us both mentally and also physically. He also talks about artificial lighting. Okay, he says that, hey, why is there so much of artificial lighting in the houses? He has some tips. He says that, hey, in the bedroom, the room where you are going to sleep, don't have any artificial lighting. Don't switch it on at all. Okay, so that when you enter the room, okay, at whatever time, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, etc., you know that that room is meant to sleep. That room simulates what is happening outside in the external world after sunset, okay, and how our ancestors and forefathers were living, and it prepares your brain, your mind, okay, and starts secreting melatonin or melanin, whatever is required, okay, to put you to sleep, okay, help you relax and put you to sleep, etc. Okay, he says that reduce artificial light. This is a recommendation. Manage the room temperature nicely and change your device habits. Keep devices even for charging outside the room. Okay, find a device lock, okay, either physically or artificially or virtually. Find a way digitally and keep the devices off the bedrooms. This is suggestion. That was chapter number 3. Getting to 4, okay, again, he is talking about the loss of sustained reading. Okay, this is one of my favorite topics, ability to do sustained reading. And for example, when I was running the Chennai Lit Fest as a secretary of Chennai Literary Festival, I had also given an interview which was widely seen in the press and media, etc., which talks about this loss, okay, which is about we go through books, okay, or our ability to go through books in deep level of detail has gone down. Okay, either we browse through books like we are browsing through internet pages, or we skim through books or scan through books, etc. We just flip from one page to another. We are not able to read. We are not able to sit and focus on a book. Okay, and this we are seeing it in schools now, okay, where teachers are talking about it in detail, saying that looks like the brain of the children, okay, the current day children, is rewired for distraction. Okay, it's not which was wired for focus and attention a decade or two before, is now completely rewired. So as a result, their ability to read deeply, ability to creatively look into or get themselves lost in a book or in a novel, etc., is gone. Okay, because what has happened to the brain? Brain networks are now, like what the author says, rewired. Okay, please get distracted. That's your brain for. And as a result, what has happened? 40% decrease in reading habit just in the last 10 years for men and 30% decrease for women. See, imagine the facts that he is sharing. Okay, you are able to think or focus on a topic less than what a fish can do now. Okay, you have stopped reading. Your ability to focus is not more than 3 minutes, even if you are a senior office worker. Okay, and digital distraction. And he also talks about the number of books read by adults. Okay, so only 15%, okay, which is what, one out of every 6% is reading at least one book every year. Okay, and if you look at teenagers, it's gone. Okay, they spend less than 5 minutes a day, okay, in any long form of reading. Could be digital, could be say non-digital. Less than 5 minutes of any long form. Teenagers. Okay, so what the author recommends? Okay, why does he recommend deep reading? Two reasons. Reason number one: if you want to develop empathy, okay, if you want to be high on EQ, emotional quotient with others, then you should be able to immerse yourself in a fiction kind of a book for a long time. Be part of those characters. Be part of different characters. Think of that role, play that role, so you're able to understand others better, be able to put yourself in others' shoes better, etc. So when there are situations, okay, you are able to demonstrate deep empathy with a good understanding of what the other individual is thinking or expecting from you, okay, in that transaction or in the relationship. That is reason number one. Reason number two is it's not a luxury. Okay, deep reading, okay, it's like exercising the muscles in your brain. So like exercise is important for the other muscles in the body, or the other ways you tend to lose it. Your brain muscles are getting exercised, okay, which is very important to be able to think through a solution, provide an innovative idea, be able to solve problems in an office setup, be able to do something innovative, etc. It becomes very important to be creative, and that creativity comes through only through very critical thinking enabled through deep critical reading. Okay, so that's the importance of reading. And the last chapter that I wanted to speak before I leave it to Dr. J and Dr. Senthil, the last chapter is the importance of mind wandering. I touched upon it at the beginning. Okay, that we tend to think that attention is only focusing on a spotlight, focusing on a specific item or a specific person being able to do it. It is not just, say, attention is not just that. Focus is not just that attention on one specific individual or this. It is also about the other forms. Okay, you can, this perspective that you need to be only on one item or one person, etc. is incorrect. There are also other forms of attention, which is possible if you allow your mind to wander. Now, this wandering of the mind, okay, suppose somebody tells us that, yeah, go for a long walk, allow your mind to wander, enjoy the trees, enjoy the breeze, okay, and allow your mind to stand and stare, etc. Sometimes the guilt catches up with us. We think that, hey, what is this? Okay, I am feeling very negative. Okay, when my mind is wandering as if I'm useless, etc. He says that please get rid of that guilt. Okay, and please get rid of the guilt. Allow the mind to wander. Allow the mind to sense new experiences, new associations that the mind will help build for you. Allow it to time travel. Let it think of the past. Let it think of the current. Let it think of the future. So automatically, okay, the issues that you want to solve, the other challenges that you want to solve, you will find the answers. The mind, when allowed a free thought, okay, and allowed to connect past, present, future, okay, different data points, etc. Allow it to do. In turn, it will help you, okay, to solve very critical problems if you leave that mind wandering to happen. So that's the importance of mind wandering, and mind wandering can happen only when we intentionally spend time in, like, going for long walks, okay, or thinking about, say, all these topics without, say, getting worried about all these continuous distractions, digital stuff falling on us, etc. So he talks about balancing focus, okay, and that balancing of focus can happen with mind wandering, and understanding that, hey, don't get distracted, allow your mind to wander and enjoy and do this. So in summary, okay, the first 5 chapters with all these facts, okay, and expert interviews that he has done, all the data that he is showing us in the book, okay, are revealing that the stolen focus is not just a failure of the individuals, of the people alone. It looks like it's a structural crisis, okay, which is through all this corporatish part, okay, which is coming up and demanding our awareness and action every minute. So he's saying that it's very important to fight back, and the way we fight back is we cannot go and fight a Google or a Facebook. He's saying watch your own attention spans and take small steps, okay, to protect and reclaim that stolen focus, okay, and work towards the small suggestions, tiny tips that he gives in every chapter, okay, and make a difference. So in summary, the author asks us to stay sharp and stay focused. So this is the first 5 chapters of the book. And now I would request, the other reviewers, esteemed reviewers, Dr. J and Dr. Senthil, to take over and cover the other parts of the book. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Mr. Syed Hassan. So this is the first time I'm hearing you talk, and it was a very nice, in-depth presentation. We really appreciate your you've taken, you have done the focus that was necessary to cover the book, because reading a book itself has become, as you said, we skim and we scan, and reaching the depths of a book itself is a lost art. Yeah. People do not do that, and so that is the problem. And I think you did justice to doing a little bit of focused reading and approach to this book. So I'll continue the rest of the thing. I will start my presentation.
Thanks, Doctor.
Just a minute. So are my slides visible?
Oh, yes. Yes, it is visible.
Visible. Thank you. So, and am I audible?
You are very clear.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
I'm audible. Thank you. So, I'm Dr. J. Kumar Velayudham. I'm Associate Professor of Psychiatry. I'm currently working at Government Vellore Medical College. I'm going to talk about the rest of the chapters, the middle chapters, namely chapters number 6 to 10 of the book Stolen Focus by Johann Hari. Okay. So, Syed Hassan has already covered the premise of the book. That is, our technology, our focus is being stolen. Stolen by whom? By the tech companies. It is being stolen. So the chapter 6 to 10 will cover about how the technology companies are doing this focus stealing, and then this how stress plays a role, and how we actually need a systemic change rather than individual change. Individual changes help, but they may not suffice. We need to act together. What we need is a more of a revolution that has to happen from individuals against the attention stealing that's happening. And there are a lot of implications for psychiatry as well. The increased prevalence of, say, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, digital addiction, etc. So there are a lot of takeaways and discussion, and later on we can also have some discussion. After, I think, Senthil has finished, that time we can have the discussions. So first I'll talk about the chapter 6. Now the technology is tricking and manipulating. That it is tracking us and manipulating us. It is also tricking us to an extent. Initially, he starts the whole thing by explaining how Tristan is one of the main workers of Google, who initially became aware of how this Google is stealing our attention. It's not ethical, and he finally resigned from the job also, and he focuses in the popular Netflix series called what's it called, Social Dilemma. In Social Dilemma, they talk about how the tech industry operates as some kind of a conspirators trying to attack the society and individuals and stealing their data, etc. But they don't talk about focus as such. Social Dilemma Netflix series. So basically, here he talks about Tristan. Tristan's basic training as a kid, he was very interested in magic, and he learned how to do magic, the card tricks and all that. And especially when he did some of the card tricks, he saw that it's very difficult to resist it. Our human capacity has its own limitations. We cannot resist certain tricks, and we are all lured by the so-called magic, which are basically some kind of a tricks, some kind of a hypnosis, some kind of a subconscious thing. Sometimes they do, but you are being manipulated. So the human mind can be manipulated. And what is important in magic is that you need not work on the strength of people. You have to work on the weakness of people. Similarly, the tech companies also are working on the weakness of people. So we all have some weaknesses. Now it will tap that weakness. For example, say you have a weakness for gambling. It will tap that gambling and make you an addict to gambling. Or say you have a weakness for pornography. It will tap that and make you a pornography addict. Okay. Or say you have a weakness for cricket. Then it will make you a cricket addict. Or if you are in music, you have some kind of weakness for music, and then it makes you even there are mule addicts, music addicts, etc. Some addictions are even positive, but by and large, the idea is that it capitalizes on your weaknesses, exploits the weaknesses for the tech company's benefits. By tech company, I mean Facebook or Instagram or whatever. There's a big lot of companies which are exploiting our weaknesses. So the platforms are designed to capture attention. Their entire business model works on how much they can steal your attention or grab your attention. So you cannot ask the tech companies to become very ethical. It's like asking a oil miner not to dig oil, or asking KFC chicken not to kill the chicken anymore. It's against the business model. So there is no point in talking ethics to them, because there are a lot of people who try talking ethics to Google owners, or say, and he also talks about what is the worth of Google. The worth of the Google empire is something like $1 trillion. It's almost equal to the whole worth of Mexico, or say Indonesia. They've become such big empires by capitalizing on human attention, by stealing your data and then selling the data to a potential businessman who can play ads which will attract you, who will in turn manipulate you into buying his products, right? So when something is given, the moral of the story is when something is given free, you are the product. When a product is free, you are the product. So you are being sold. Your data is being sold. Your psychological profile is first sought. You are being profiled always. You are profiled. So I know this particular person is interested in, say, cars. And then I will show ads of cars to him. Second-hand cars, first-hand cars. Or I will show car videos. Somebody likes dogs, they are shown all dog videos. And their time is, and they are shown ads, and so on and so on. So that's how the business model goes on. So it's not your fault you can't focus. So we always blame our own selves that, no, I can't focus because I'm paying. It's not an individual failure, it's a collective failure. It's a design. That's the design. They are making you lose your attention, especially the notifications. If only we can just switch off the notification, we can save a lot of time. He asks everyone to go to the settings and switch off the notification, because we get, every time there's a Facebook notification, then you get a click or a beep sound. If there is a WhatsApp notification, then you get there is a WhatsApp message. I think many of us might have muted it or whatever, and it will even sometimes it vibrates to show that no, there is a message, there is a notification. There is no need to go through all the notifications, go through all the mails. There is no need to do that. And the infinite scroll is one thing they found. The infinite scroll means when you go on scrolling the page, at the end of the page you have to come to the end of a page, and then previous days there used to be a next page. But now there is no next page. If you go to the bottom, it will go to some more data will be coming, and then you will go to that bottom, more data will come. You need not click a next page at all. That is called infinite scroll. The scroll goes on. That sometimes it is also called doom scrolling, etc. And that's what we do. We go on doing doom scrolling. We go on the Instagram reels, go on then going reel after reel after reel after reel, go on watching it, and your time has got lost. So this is called the engagement economy. So the core concept here is the technology is a neutral. It is designed to capture your attention, and highly reveals how modern platforms engineer distraction for profit. So if you get distracted, they get profit. Okay, they get ads, they get everything. So you have to be on the app. Your time has to be spent on the app for them to get business. So you have to spend time on, say, Instagram, you have to spend time on Facebook, or you have to spend on Snapchat. In fact, there's something called Snapchat. Yeah, there's also a small paragraph about how Snapchat has its own, there's something called a sequence, or you have to share your photo to another person, and that person will share his photo. That is called a sequel or something. And if you go on maintaining that sequence, then you will be rewarded. But if you stop with some people to go on doing it for 100 days or 200 days, they keep sharing one photo with each other, and if they stop it, then streak, it's called streak. That streak is lost. Snapchat streaks, they call it. So that streak is a selling point there. So you have to go on being on Snapchat to win all those streaks, and they are there's no visible gain. That's just your brain dopamine hit. You get a dopamine hit whenever you get a streak. You will get some like, maybe you get a like, you get an applause. There's no real gifts from that, but that gives you a dopamine hike when you get a like and all that. So the behavioral design, how the tech hijacks the mind. The behavioral design is borrowed from casinos psychology. In casinos there is some dollars or whatever. They put some coins and gifts. It's from Skinner's psychology. Skinner's psychology is based on how there's a dove put in a box, and every time that dove, when the dove clicks a particular button, when it picks at a particular button, food will come out. A pellet of food will come out. So it will go on picking. So it will soon learn that every time it picks at the particular button, food comes. So it will learn how to pick the button. So you're training the pigeon to pick the button and then give the food. Similarly, a rat is trained. Every time a rat is pushing a lever, food will be delivered in a box. That is called Skinner's box. This is called positive reinforcement. What is being rewarded will be repeated. That is the principle of positive reinforcement. And that is being used here in technology also. You are giving rewards. You are being given rewards like say likes. You get a dopamine hit in your brain. And so immediately you get addicted. You want it again. Then you go on staying in that for the dopamine hit. You go on watching say reels or watching videos or watching OTT, whatever is that you do. And the notifications trigger the dopamine rewards. So persuasive technology exploits this human vulnerability. So your weaknesses is being exploited. Infinite scroll and autoplay removes natural stopping cues, and then, so if there is no infinite scroll, at least there is a pause button. You can think whether I should continue this or, in fact, while giving some possibilities to reduce it, it says, why don't you send a warning message? No, you have exceeded 15 minutes. You have exceeded 30 minutes of your time in mobile. Now, can you switch off your mobile? You have exceeded certain things. So, do you want to still continue in the website? No, some kind of warning, trigger warnings like that can help to reduce this. And so it keeps users trapped in engagement loops. So you go on doing the same thing again and again and again. And their purpose of, say, Facebook or Instagram or whatever website is that, social media, WhatsApp or whatever, they want to maximize your screen time and not your real connection. Because they can easily, he says, they can usually use a location system and connect you live rather than, it's possible that they can connect friends who are staying in the same place in Facebook, and they can meet with, and that can happen. And they do not really encourage it. If you look at it, the Facebook doesn't, the design or anything doesn't really encourage you to meet live. They want you to stay attached through the screen and not, they're trying to prevent your live connection. Although live connections do happen, people get married through Facebook or whatever, they get into real relationships with Facebook and all that. But by and large, the design is digital to keep you away and make you connected through the technology and not out of the technology. And then there are some consequences for attention. Hundreds of phone checks daily fragment your thought. So if you go on checking your phone hundreds of times, what happens to your thoughts? Your thoughts get fragmented. Deep focus is replaced with constant cognitive switching. You are not able to focus deep. As Sayadas was also pointing, the ability to focus, deep focus is a book written by another writer called someone. He has written a book called Deep Focus, which is a very another book. Maybe we should take it in the future. Deep focus is something in art we have lost because of this. So our cognitive bandwidth has been lost by the theft of by the technology. So the human and emotional cost, the expectation of instant feedback shortens the attention span. So we want feedback. We go on checking you put a post, then you go on seeing how many likes I've got, how many shares I've got, how many comments I've got. So you're always glued to the technology, your digital thing, and then your attention span has become very short. As I said, 6 seconds, 8 seconds. That's why in Instagram reel is only 15 seconds. So poor our attention span has become that an Instagram reel is just 15 seconds. So you can just think how the attention span is. And from what this book says, attention span is even less than that, like 8 seconds it says. So the anxiety, irritability and emotional fatigue raises. So when you go on get addicted to digital media, what happens? You become very irritable at times. You don't know the reason why you are irritable, why you are angry. And loss of boredom, tolerance weakens our creativity. So you don't want to be bored. Boredom is a good thing. What happens when you're out of your technology, when you're digital detoxing yourself, or when in the same, the author initially starts this book as saying, he goes to a place called Portland, where he does some digital detox. He undergoes a digital detox himself. And then he gets connected to his own inner self and all that because of the digital detox. So what happens when you initially digital detox? You get a lot of withdrawal. You will get bored because you are watching this, that and all the time, and now you have switched off your mobile and for say a couple of days or 5 days you have switched off your mobile. You get really bored initially. So that boredom is a good thing. So you have to encourage your boredom because your boredom will later on strengthen your creativity. But if you are not bored, it will weaken your creativity. So boredom is an essential part of your creativity, and we have lost the boredom. The art of boredom is lost. Boredom is a good thing. That's one thing we should understand here. We don't want to be bored. The problem is we don't want to be bored. We want to be always doing something, always being engaged in a, say, conversation, or engaged in a movie, engaged in a music, engaged in some book. We don't want to be quiet. Like we say, look at the stars or look at the trees and all that. The mind wandering he was talking about. That we don't want to do that. Only if your mind wanders, you can become a real poet, you can do some creativity, you can write a real poem. You know. Now ChatGPT writes all the poems. That's another big problem. Now ethical and moral dimensions. Now tech companies profit from distraction, not our well-being. They are not at all interested in human well-being. They are not at all interested in human growth or creativity. All that they were interested in their revenue. They want to become rich. That is all the ethics that they are not. So we have to ethically redesign it, taking the public mental health point of view, and then redesign the social media. That's what should happen. So society faces a moral dilemma. Now attention versus revenue. Either you lose your attention or you become very rich. What do you want? Facebook should say, I have enough money. Zuckerberg should say, I have enough money. I've earned enough money. Why should I exploit more people and keep increasing my wealth? Enough is enough. Let me reduce my wealth and make people free. Liberate them. That he won't say. Mark Zuckerberg is being another human being like us. He will never say enough. He's only one person, for example, or say Google, or whatever, Instagram or whatever. Everyone has become so selfish for their own purpose. They are spoiling the society, saying in simple words. So, in key quote, it's not your fault you can't focus. It's by design. Because distraction is a fuel that powers the modern attention economy, says Johann. So the takeaway is that attention loss is engineered, not accidental. Individual willpower cannot fix structural manipulation, and collective reform and mindful tech use are the solution. Okay? We have to be mindful. Chapter 7 talks about surveillance capitalism. That is, your attention is being monetized, your focus is being sold. The business model drives the design. More screen time is equal to more profit. The more we are losing our screen time in screen, the more profit the tech companies are going to make, and we are going to lose our autonomy over our focus. So we are going to lose our autonomy. That's what is happening. The core concept here is that Hari exposes how modern technology monetizes distraction. Our attention is bought, sold, and engineered for profit. Okay. And how surveillance capitalism works? Every action online is tracked and analyzed. Data predicts behavior and is sold to advertisers. The longer you stay online, the more money the platform makes. That's we already saw. The more time you spend on a particular site, the more they're going to sell your data, and the advertisers are going to make use of it. And attention is the new oil. So the social media platform exploits psychological vulnerabilities. The infinite scroll, like autoplay, all are designed to hook. Tech experts call it an arms race for attention. It's almost an arms race for attention. And psychological and social costs. So there's a dopamine-driven loops which mimic addiction. The constant stimulation reduces tolerance for deep thought. So we are not able to do the deep focus. Hassan talked about flow. When you focus on a thing on a very deep level and go on focusing on a particular subject, you go into a flow. What the great achievers like the cricketers or say Sachin Tendulkar, when he plays, he goes into a flow because his focus is so sharp. He goes into a flow. If you ask him a century, how he hit the century, he doesn't know because he got into the zone. They say he got into the zone of the flow. That can be reached only by super concentration. That we cannot do with this kind of a distracted mind. For that, you need almost like a saintly, some Buddha kind of mind where we are free of distraction. talks about how in Brazil an election is won, how they create homophobia, how one particular candidate is being kind of, they make a scandal out of him, and how the media can, the hatred, the யாரெல்லாம் அந்த பையன் கேட்ட பரப்புறது இன்டர்நெட் கலாச்சாரம் he says in that யாரெல்லாம் அந்த பையன் நான் தான் அந்த பையன். So like that, the internet kalacharam is spreading hate. This hate is a big only if something is very good, nobody is going to watch it. Something is very hateful or something is very polarized, then that grabs your attention and you want to see more. Oh, somebody is raped, then you want to see that. Somebody, good news is no news, they say, but something is a bad news, then you want to know more about it. Karur, somebody, so many 41 people have lost their lives, so we all want to see that. So Indian women winning cricket is good thing. That is also being watched, but that will pass off within, say, 1 hour or 1 day. But this tragedy or some rape or something will last for, say, 1 week or 2 weeks of our attention will go to this type of a news, on a negative news. So if you compare, the negative always goes more than a positive. Attention theft is intentional, not accidental. So they do it on purpose. They're stealing our attention. The children and societies suffer cognitive. So the most affected people are now the children. That is why if you look at many countries have now started banning children from using smartphones in the school, including Australia, Finland, many of the developed France, many of the developed countries, which were the first to encourage people to bring iPad to the LKG and all that. Now they become aware. Now they stop children from touching the mobile phone. If you look at, he also says Facebook or Google owners themselves do not allow their children to touch the mobile phone. iPhone owners, founders never allow their children to touch iPhone, which means they know that it's bad. So regulation is needed. Like the analogy is to tobacco control or say pollution control. There's a lot of pollution. There's no point in just wearing a mask. Your digital detox is like wearing a mask. You can only stop so much, but the pollution is going to stay. So a lot of regulations are needed rather than just digital detox has its own limitations, and it's not a great, individual strategies are not a great way to battle or face this problem. So our attention didn't collapse, it was stolen. The next chapter is cruel optimism, saying everything is on individual. You can't come out of this if you can have self-control. So those kind of things, being very optimistic and saying that you can give up this digital addiction by yourself and all that is very cruel, he says, because it's not possible. So blaming individuals for systemic problem is very cruel. Self-control helps, but the total environment is against us. So attention crisis requires collective action. One person cannot fight it. So cruel optimism, believing personal effect can fix systemic problems. We are told to focus with willpower. You're saying that with willpower you can come out of it. No, it's not possible, he says. So attention loss framed as moral weak. Now saying you are morally weak, somebody, because you're watching the phone all the time, you're morally weak. You cannot blame individual or children for that. So self-help and tech detox culture shift the blame to individuals. We are saying you can come out of it. No, they cannot come out of it because the design is like that. The entire environment is like that, and there's no point in just blaming an individual. So meditation, digital detox and all that will offer some temporary relief, but it's not a permanent solution. And it cannot counter the algorithmic manipulation. They're doing algorithmic manipulation. They're studying you, they're psychologically profiling you, taking your data, and they're attacking you individually, and it's very difficult for an individual to withstand it. So the real solution is from digital design, work culture, policy making, governmental awareness, making like kind of NGO kind of a thing, representing this to the government, asking government to interfere. All those things we need a revolution to really come out of it. So the psychology of so when self-help fails, people feel shame or failure. Then you blame yourself. So ChatGPT has made many people to commit suicide and all that. So chronic self-blame erodes confidence, it fuels anxiety. If you go on blaming yourself, then you get very anxious. Attention struggles are social, not personal in origin. So they want, again, he wants to shift the focus from individual to the large structural systemic issue. So you have to recognize the systemic stressors in attention complaints, avoid pathologizing environment-driven distraction. So just diagnosing ADHD or saying somebody's having ADHD has increased, but it's a more fashionable diagnosis, more acceptable diagnosis. But it's better to avoid such diagnosis and look at the real factors or the overall structural factors. Empower client through realistic coping and awareness. So you have to empower clients, help them to come out of it. And we have been told a story that our inability to focus is a personal failure. It's not so. In truth, we are living in an attention-stealing environment. So next chapter, there are glimpses of solutions. So you have to reform ad-driven tech models. Finite scroll, bring back the finite scroll. The scroll has to stop at a point and then ask, do you want to still scroll? Batch notifications. The notifications can come as once in a day. All the notifications should come as say once in a day, like a newspaper. So you need not go through notifications as and when. Every 6 minutes, a small child is looking at a WhatsApp or whatever to look at the latest message. Instead, one particular day, somebody can summarize and give you these are the messages, main messages today. So public advocacy for attention-friendly systems and parallel with mental health advocacy. So again, this chapter overview explores constant digital connectivity and 24/7 attention economy, technology companies engineer engagement through algorithms. Mental rest and focus are compromised by perpetual notifications. Society rewards constant availability, but our brains pay the price. Because you have to be constantly available on the mobile. Now, some countries have brought rules that if you have gone, say, out of the job, you cannot be contacted by mail, or some countries like France have a rule now that you cannot be contacted by mail or something out of office hours. Because you're 24/7, you're supposed to be available. You leave alone doctors. Even technology guys have to nowadays be like that. But that should be banned these days. Once you're out of the office hours, you should not be contacted. And that rule has already been implemented in some countries like France. And there is a penalty also. And there are many incidences where employees are being contacted by the company, and that is being escalated, and the companies are being fined for doing so, for contacting them out of office hours. So that kind of a discipline, in when not disturbing them 24/7 is important. So attention fragmentation and reduced creative depth is what has happened. That is because of chronic stress, digital fatigue, and emotional burnout. These are things that happen and disturbs people constantly. We all talked about. Hassan also talked about the light factor. What happens when the light comes? Your sleeps all our sleeps are getting disturbed, and we are not sleeping enough. Is the moral of the story. So social media drives comparison, validation, and distraction. So when you go on getting compare yourself. Social media, what happens is you compare with your neighbor. That guy has bought a BMW. So now I have to buy an Audi, or I have to buy a better car, or I have to have that guy has got a beautiful mustache. I should also have a mustache. Or that guy has gone to Switzerland for holiday. Now I have to go to at least Singapore for holiday. Something like that. You're comparing with yourself with the neighbor. That is already there in human nature. Yes. So your weakness, again, as I said, is being exploited. That is amplified. So you have to do a reflection exercise, how to come out of it. So when do you feel most controlled by your phone or a device? When are you controlled by it? Design a 24-hour digital Sabbath. But full day, you try to stay out of your phone. Perhaps some rule like no screen after 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., don't touch your phone. And replace your thing with the reading. Go to original books rather than e-books. Hardcore, papers, normal paper books rather than e-books. Do walking, as everybody said, do walking. journaling, writing, not in a note, not on a computer, but in a say, paper. If you start writing and reflect on your mood, sleep, clarity, right? You use a diary and all that, like we used to do in olden days. So that can help. On, always being on, like online, it erodes focus. So distraction is deliberately designed. Rest is important. So taking rest is the solution. That can and the solutions require not just self-control. It needs a systemic change. So we are not failing to focus because we are weak. We are living in a system that is designed. So the last chapter, the 10th chapter, the chronic stress fragments of focus. The brain stays in alert mode, not deep mode. Financial, social, and digital stressors have their psychiatric relevance. Stress leads to attention collapse. Chronic stress keeps the brain in a constant vigilance mode. Focus requires safety. Modern life sustains threat perception. And the result is that the deep attention becomes biologically difficult. So whenever you are stressed, you cannot focus. That is the answer is when you say focus, when you are saying in a very stressed environment, say a bear is trying to attack you or a lion is trying to attack you, you go into a state of say vigilance. That state is called vigilance. When you are in a vigilant mode, when you are very aware, alert for trying to look at the what are the stressors in the environment, what are the safety counters in the environment, risk factors in the environment. That time you cannot do focused book reading. You cannot be focused because you are in a vigilant mode. You are in a stress mode. You are in a trauma mode. So that should not be the case. But we are always in a trauma mode when you are in an online. So the amygdala dominance under stress blocks the prefrontal control. When you are in a peaceful state, you are in a prefrontal control. But when you are in a stressed state, you are under amygdala dominance. So the brain enters scanning mode, seeking threats or alerts. So sustained reflective attention gives way to survival focus. So what we don't need the survival mode. Let us not stay in survival mode all the time. We have to become more reflective, more sustained, very stress-free but sustained reflection mode. So how to go into the other mode? You should think. Now, economic pressure and digital overload. So again, we talked about economic pressures. Because you have to earn, then you have to stay online. Sleep deprivation and work-life imbalance. Sleep deprivation is part of the story, and work-life also gets affected. So erosion of rest, because your reflection is not there, your real community involvement is not there. Only social media is there. There's no real society. So shared cognitive overload across the society. So attention deficits mimic ADHD but are stress related. So many times somebody is talking about ADHD and they are actually undergoing stress. And stress mimics ADHD, attention deficit. Many of the children being diagnosed with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactive disorder are actually suffering from a lot of stress. So you have to first control the stress, treat the stress, and still the ADHD remains only when you have to diagnose a case of ADHD. You can jump and diagnose somebody as having attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So I think Dr. Sendel is a pediatrician. I think he will also reflect more on this particular issue. Leads to fatigue, irritability, and reduced creativity. Because when you are stressed, you are fatigued, you are irritable, and all that, and that contributes to your loss of focus. So stress can result in loss of focus. So you have to evaluate stress before labeling somebody as having an attention disorder, and try to restore his focus by helping him to be calm, handling the stress. So stress is something you have to. When you are stressed, your brain switches to a scanning mode. You are not able to focus. Okay. So cross chapter. So tech and stress is systemic attention drain. Focus not individual. Integrate into therapy and policy. So how has technology changed your focus habits? Can focus be reclaimed? Parallels between Harry's ideas and mental health, and maybe we can implement as a group some changes. We can discuss that later on. Thank you. Over to Sendel.
Yeah, and Dr. Siddharth, you are still on mute, I think. We could not hear you. You're still muted, sorry. Yeah, so as a meeting host, Dr. J, can you try unmuting him? Clicking on people and clicking on his name. I'm not able to unmute him.
Yes, sorry, got it. I was trying to unmute myself on the screen, but I think there's a separate button. Thanks. I'm just going to share my presentation. So, okay, can you see the slides now?
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Singh.
Yes.
Thank you. So, yeah, my name is Sandil Kumar Sethuraman. I'm Jay's undergraduate classmate, and that's how we know each other. So we've known each other for a long time. I practice pediatrics. In UK, pediatrics is divided largely into sort of general health problems and behavioral problems, which is where ADHD comes through. So we will talk about those things in a second. Right, okay. So chapter 11 talks a lot around 4-day working. The author puts some evidence and makes a compelling statement to roll out or advocates for 4-day working in a company. So he basically starts with a company which makes a trial attempt of 2 months of 4-day working, where he calls the bosses and says, we're going to do this, and my hypothesis is that our productivity will not drop, but you just make sure you do the right things that are needed. And what happened was people started initially finding problems which were hampering them to complete the jobs in 4 days, found solutions, and achieved what the manager thought would happen, which is the productivity did not drop. And in that time, there was a 35% reduction in social media. And he thinks that the reasons are the 1 day in a week that the employees get, it is spent on nurturing their relationships with their loved ones at home. And also when they are at home and if their loved ones have gone to school and stuff, they have a me time where they can look after themselves, spend some time on their own. And he gives a few examples in Kellogg's and a few other companies where reduced work time for the same pay did not affect the productivity, reduces the accidents, focus is increased at workplace. So the author makes a statement that in our ever-accelerating society where everything is going fast, slowing things down is an important aspect to give people some time back and also keep the productivity going. This and one of the features of this book is its facts, as Syed put it. There are so many interesting facts, and I think that's one of the reasons this book stuck out to me. So he says that about 56% of Americans take less than 1 week per year vacation, which is a shocking fact to me when I read this. Now, there are a few reasons why just reducing 1 day per week will just not work for certain companies. One of this is some jobs are not paid by the number of hours you work. You're given a bunch of tasks and you can complete it whatever time you want, and that's the problem. Second is, over time, the employment unions, which used to advocate for changes like these, and the author gives an example of how weekend not working became a norm. So those employment unions are being fragmented and are not as powerful as it used to be in the 1700s and 1800s when the weekend plan was done. And the last point is, we are generally accustomed to the feeling of work means you have to work up to the point of exhaustion, and only then you've done a good job in a day. And that is what success is. So we have a little bit of mental reframing to do. One of the other things also says, before COVID, if you ask a CEO of a bank which has 60,000 employees to say, can you all actually work from home just using online devices? No one would have thought that that is possible, but COVID made us do it. The author also gives the example that Jay touched on, which is there is a French law where the employees are given a right to disconnect, and there are rules around not being able to contact when they are not working. But overall, the point is it's no good making suggestions like this. The French law suggests that it is important to make it legal as well. So the next chapter touches on how healthy eating, reducing sugar affects attention in children. And he talks a lot about children in this area. So he says, he gives a history of how his upbringing in Scotland, where he used to go to his grandparents' house. So his mother is Scottish and dad was Swedish. And when he was younger, they used to go to a holiday in Sweden, rural areas, where processed food or high processed sugar was not an option of foods, and that he thinks is the way forward, because high sugary foods causes sugar spikes, and when the sugar spikes drop, it reduces his that is the time when the attention is affected as well. And one of the things is he puts forward is perhaps there is a role for this phenomenon to work for his increased attention in Provincetown. Now, there's an interesting point that he brings here, which is like tech giants employing engineers to steal our attention, there are supermarkets who work on this area as well. Now, the next part of this chapter, he talks about the importance of pollution and how reducing pollution or protecting from pollution will can reduce or have an effect on the attention of children. Again, I just some part of this chapter as well as the pollution sector, I personally did not connect as much, because there's a whole lot of things that's involved here in addition to what we think. I don't know, things may be different in different parts of the world, but restricting sugary snacks in children definitely in UK is not an easy job. It's definitely not going to just happen just because one person talks about it. And to be fair, I don't know why it should restrict only for children. So there are two books that I thought handles this topic a little bit more in-depth science and evidence in terms of adults understanding the effect of sugar foods, which I think deals this topic far more in depth. Then the next chapter talks a lot about ADHD. The author gives evidence to say the increase in the incidence and diagnosis of ADHD. He completely acknowledges the fact that there is a genetic and a biological aspect to the diagnosis, but there is also an environmental or contextual contribution to it. Now, ADHD in different countries is handled differently. In UK, it's a highly sensitive topic. It's not easy for me as a doctor to just talk to a parent and say, I don't think your child has got ADHD, even though it's born or not ADHD, because the pressure on parents and the onus on parents to push things is far higher in Western society. The author gives acknowledgement to the success of stimulant medications, but also touches on the side effects and the long-term effects, and gives the importance of the environmental influences. He welcomes. He says that kids these days have less physical activity, less free play, less motivation in doing things on long-term regular practice to attain mastery. All of these are also contributing factors. The last chapter is dedicated to sort of physical and psychological confinement, which is children spend a lot of time indoors, always have some kind of supervision, less free outdoor play, less autonomy, and this is in direct contrast to things that he used. I'm sure people in this group will acknowledge to the fact the amount of times that we were able to play outdoors compared to what things are happening now, and the risk and the difficulty that brings in. The bottom line is there is less time for kids to sort of put time through focused, practiced rehearsals on one activity to attain mastery in those. Say, for example, if you're talking about cricket, it's quite a bit of a task to practice cricket at professional level, and it needs that much of time, attention, and holding your distractions away, and for that matter, even studying. So that is all. I thought the first 10 chapters was just brilliant in this book, and just homing in the importance of what is happening in terms of our attention. The pinnacle point is there used to be a time when I sit in clinics where the children will be distracted and they will have just either some snack or a screen. These are the two things that even sensible parents, if you call them sensible, bring to keep the kids attentive or at least not disruptive. But this has changed on to the point that even the parents are on their phones when the consultation is happening. And obviously, I've grown to the age where the parents are adults in my time, and even the parents are not able to pay particular attention in a consultation, which is where they come for. So I thought this book was very useful on that grounds, and I think Syed did a splendid job in going into the details of all the data and followed through equally by Jay. Thank you.
So thanks a lot, Sendil and Mr. Syed Hassan.
Thank you.
I think we have to an extent done some justice and covered a lot of things from the book. Now open to the audience, to the floor, to interact, talk about it. What are their own questions, comments, and share some insights, opinions. Anybody wants to talk? Unmute yourself, please.
So thank you so much, renowned speakers. It's really been wonderful opportunity to hear from you. Actually, I started taking down notes rather than following the PPT, and so as you said, the behavior change started happening in this session. That's what I felt. So thank you so much. And one insight, many insights I got to our work commands multitasking, but I learned from this session that multitasking actually reduces the productivity by 40% from the conversation that the renowned speakers have shared. And we keep ourselves busy, saying that we are busy. Even somebody calls, we used to say, "I'm a little busy, I'll call you later." But this session has enlightened me, telling that keeping your mind wander helps in balancing the focus. So that's another insight I got. And there is lot of insights. I would have missed this session. I would have really not learned many things if I would have missed this session. So, and then how deep reading exercise the brain muscles earlier, and the statistics was really alarming. And stay sharp and stay focused was the key mantra. In particular, till chapter 5 that I learned. And from chapter 6 to 10, it was more of like how technology is stealing us, how ethics, as Doctor has rightly pointed out, the ethical redesign concept is much needed. And how, boredom is okay. We used to say, oh, boredom is a sin. These days we feel like that. Oh, you're bored. Oh, like that. But no, boredom is a boon. Actually, it gives you tolerance. It boosts your creativity. That is one amazing thing that I learned. And how children suffer from cognitive erosion because of this technology stealing or ethical stealing of our perceptions, of our willingness. Those things I've learned from this session. Yeah, so digital Sabbath is required, Doctor. Totally agree with your fact. As a parent of 10-year-old kid, I do acknowledge and vouch Dr. Sendil's, paragraph of telling. When I, as a child, was taken to a hospital, my mom used to get me a book. But now, I myself is not taking a book when I go and meet the doctor in his consultation time. So I could sense that how a kid can be grown up with a parent like me. So that behavior change has to happen in me. And of course, healthy eating is one point that he stressed a lot. So less free outdoor play. Sure, doctor. Totally agree with your point. Yes, because even kids among themselves are not going out and playing these days. So they prefer Pokemon than the real cricket and the footballs. So it's truly enlightening to attend this session, and I'm privileged and I'm blessed to have speakers like you. And I'm thankful to God for undertaking this session for this day. And I wish more such sessions should happen. Thank you so much.
So thanks, Priya. You really recaptured the whole, all the chapters, some of the vital things, the take-home points that we had given. I hope we have done some justice to listeners and audience like you. It will be more great pleasure if you spread the word of Madras Book Club happening with all your friends and the family and your VHS. You're from VHS, right? Or are you still with VHS, Priya?
Yeah, I just left VHS. Okay. But sure, I'll connect to my contacts like
your contacts and spread the word and get more people here. But you are getting benefited is one thing I'm very happy about. That at least one person is being benefited, we are very happy. So over to anybody else wants to speak. Ashia.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Hassan, Dr. Sendil and Dr. Jay. I think you brought such an interesting topic today. Normally I don't attend these sessions, but today's book, I was very curious because this is something that all of us are facing, this attention disorder that you were talking about. I think first of all, a big thanks to you, because I think you've taken time out of your busy schedule and done so much research. I just thought it's going to be a half an hour summary, but you spent so much time and everything said was very, very valuable. And for me personal, my attention span is that like a hamster, okay? But for the first time, in fact, I was shopping. I came down to a, coffee shop, just sat down to listen. So at least for someone like me, within 3 minutes, which Hassan knows, right? 3 to 5 minutes, I'll just distracted, but almost, I think it's 1.5 hours. Very, very valuable session. First of all, thanks. And some personal recommendations. It's not like a review. Some recommendations that each one of you, gave takeaways like, how sleep is important and we are missing big time. And that's something, and also deep attention, how that's important for your creativity. And like Dr. Jay, that you mentioned, right? How you can be more productive with less hours of working. We always think we have long hours of working. So I think that's something which is very, very awakening to hear. I think we should all take that as a reflection. And like you rightly said, I think Dr. Jay, you mentioned, right, small habits like notification, putting notification off. I think digital detox, while we can, tech companies, I don't know, they're going to do this more, but I think individuals, we should take some responsibility and, have these notifications off, digital detox. I think we should do more, and there should be more awareness of all this. I think thank you so much for it. And that mental reframing that you mentioned, that is also very important. And that sugar. So we work late hours. When we work, immediately start taking all this sugar to give us that quick dopamine and start, that energy to start working. So probably all this has so much impact on health. And I think more than kids now, I think adults are going to have all this attention deficit disorder. So very, very valuable. And I think this is much needed topic even for schools, colleges, parents. I'm sure that, whoever has not attended definitely missed something very valuable. Probably if the recording can be shared across and we can conduct it like Hassan was mentioning. And one thing, after receiving this, I can definitely be a part of this, club, and I can also contribute both as a listener and as a reviewer. Thank you so much for all your time.
So I think we should first of all introduce. I think I have introduced myself, and Dr. Sendil is a pediatrician from UK. That means I can introduce. And Priya was a social worker from VHS. Recently, I think resigned and looking for another job, I guess. And Hassan, to my best, what I understood was he's a chartered accountant and working leader in CAP.
Maybe let me clarify. Okay, definitely. Yeah, definitely not a chartered accountant. Okay. I was with Unilever for a long time. Okay, and spent 20 years with Unilever, partially in IT and then in supply chain in different parts of the world. Okay, then I came back to India, was the Chief Information Officer in Britannia. Then I moved to DXC Technology, which is the new avatar of Hewlett Packard. I was with DXC for close to 9 years. And after DXC, now I am with a company called CAMS, CAMS, which is a registrar and transfer agency services that we provide for 70% of the mutual funds in the country. Okay, we host systems, we do the processing, provide all the offices, the front office, back office services for them. It's a platform-based organization. And I was the Chief Operating Officer for 3 years. Now I put on a new hat as the Chief Program Officer and front-ending sales initiatives. So that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
So thank you, Hassan Saidasa, for clarifying that.
One second.
Yeah, Sendil.
Jay, I think we should also ask about his publishing. So you've done a lot of, to tell us, show us that side.
Okay, so I didn't know that. So it was a known fact. I've written a book called The First Launch, which is Origin of Rocketry. Okay, and in that, what I've tried to do is I've tried to bring the technological aspects, the historical aspects of where the origin can be traced back to, and numismatics, which is coinage. Okay, that's why when I see Dr. J's notes on the coins, etc. Okay, I truly
there's something new. It's not my usual hobby.
Yeah.
I always keep exploring new
Yeah.
things, and
So,
this I suddenly got interested. I
yeah.
had a Malaysia coin, and I'm looking into it.
Okay.
I thought when I then ChatGPT and asked what is it about, then it said it's about weaver and hibiscus is rich heritage of Malaysia and all that. Then I thought, okay, each coin has a big story to tell, and we should
Yes.
dwell on a little more on this.
Very nice.
It's called numismatics, but I coined the word coinology
Okay.
to make it more
Okay.
interesting, contemporary, and all
Sure,
that.
sure.
I call it coinology.
Great.
And I'm planning to do some collection coins and all that.
Yeah. So that was my book about the origin of rocket science. Okay, and now I'm tracing back the origin to the Iron Age in South India. Okay, specifically finally zooming in on the Congo region. Okay, the Coimbatore, Dharmapuri, Ramnad, etc. I've not done say Tamil as a second language in school. Okay, but this the effort in writing this book, okay, it took 3 years and close to some 5 hours on a daily basis, thanks to COVID. Okay, so in the morning, say 3 to 8 kind of a thing, with very, very deep research. Okay, so close to some 60 books on covering even the Tamil literature, the Sangam literature, etc., which I had to deep dive. Okay, including all the say Silappatikaram and all of those stuff I had to do. And obviously, I have a background in physics, so the rocket science part has always been a passion which I have been in touch. And this coin thing was something I had to take, say, lots of help on coins and what the coins are showing to be able to prove the history. And I launched this book 3 and a half years before. Interestingly, whatever I have mentioned in the book in terms of Iron Age and all of that, okay, and tracing its origins to Tamil Nadu, government has started talking about it a year before. Okay, the Tamil Nadu state government. Okay, so and it was on the Amazon bestseller part for some time. Okay, so I was truly happy to do it, and maybe we will talk about the book sometime as part of our book club. Yeah, happy to
It's
share.
Origin of Rocketry.
Yeah, it's called The First Launch - Origin of Rocketry. That's a book. It's available everywhere, Amazon and all those places.
That's the only numismatics is the second book.
No. I had used a combination of technology, literature, history, and numismatics.
It's all one book, single book.
Yeah, I had used a combination of these to be able to prove with authenticity on how the origin can be traced back to South India and specifically the Coimbatore, Dharmapuri region. Okay, and Erode, that region. That's what I've done. So.
நீங்க சொல்றது பார்த்தா அந்த ராவணன் அந்த காலத்துல இதுல சீதையை கவர்ந்துட்டு மேல வானத்துல போனதெல்லாம் நிஜம்னு சொல்ற மாதிரி.
இல்ல நான் அதெல்லாம் சொல்லவே இல்லை சார். அது நிஜமா அந்த டாபிக் எல்லாம் போல. Mine was about the real, say when Chinese did bamboo based rocket, how did we move into those iron based rockets? Okay, and the iron as a usage. Okay, when in Europe it was all dark ages, etc. How we had moved in a very advanced manner, and how the entire Sangam literature in different parts, okay, has referred to usage of iron. Okay, well before the world even came to know how to do iron, etc. So, other basically I had done that.
Up to 10th century, we were one of the advanced cultures, and after that we have lost, especially with the warfare. Guns alla kandupidicha romba late join panna. So that's where we lost the whole game, I think. We have to maybe do something.
Yeah, we'll speak about it someday, sir. So definitely we'll talk about it someday. Yeah.
Good that I think Sendil has Googled. I didn't Google Syed Hasan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think he has done some research.
Yeah. Thanks for doing that. Yeah.
I think Arshia, you are working or?
So I lead the data and AI team in Merck, which is a shipping company, and I'm also a mentor in Great Lakes for their data science courses. So that's about me. And we have a daughter.
You have a daughter who is studying Chengalpet.
Yeah.
No surgeon, right?
She's doing her CRI, that's right.
He told me.
Yeah.
I think I was expecting to see her to join this.
She's gone for her night shift. She has.
The youngsters have to. I was expecting children and youngsters to know about this digital detox and all that.
Yes.
And unfortunately.
So how much is the stipend now?
25K, I think. 25K. I know. Yeah.
So yoga, you want to talk? Yoga Lakshmi is our classmate. But she's yoga. You there?
ஜெய் இருக்கேன்.
சொல்லுங்க, பேசுங்க.
ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்துச்சு. 3 பேரோட டாக்கும் சையத் செந்தில் உங்களது எல்லாமே ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது.
நன்றி நன்றி. சொல்லுங்க.
ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாகவும் இருந்துச்சு.
யோகாஸ் டாட்டர் இஸ் ஸ்டடிங் இன் இது தனலட்சுமி முடிச்சிட்டாங்களா?
தனலட்சுமி ஆமா
முடிச்சாச்சா இல்ல அவசரம்?
இல்ல இப்ப ப்ரீ ஃபைனல் எஸ்பிஎம் எஃப்எம்
ஃபைனல்ல. நீ எங்க இருக்க யோகா?
நான் இப்ப கோயம்புத்தூர் மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ் கோயம்புத்தூர்ல தான் இருக்கேன்.
கவர்மெண்ட்ல தான் இருக்கேன். நீங்க சர்வீஸ்ல இருக்கீங்க?
சர்வீஸ் தான்.
டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்
பெத்தாலஜி. ஓகே.
அசோசியேட்டா ப்ரொஃபசர்?
அசோசியேட்
ப்ரொஃபசர். That's about yoga. Yoga is our classmate.
Very nice. So, Senthil, Dr. Ganesh was my classmate from MMC. Now he is a gastroenterologist in UK. I don't know whether you know
இங்க எங்களோட அபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல தான் இருக்காரு அவரு. நல்லா தெரியும்.
கோயம்புத்தூரா?
இங்க தான் இருக்காரு. எஸ்ஜி கேஸ்ட்ரோ கிளினிக்.
அவர் வேற ஒரு ஆளை பத்தி சொல்றாரு. அவர் யூகேல இருக்காரு.
I'm talking about Dr. Ganesh Shivaji ன்ட்டு.
வேற ஒரு கணேஷ்.
ஆமா, அவங்க அப்பா வந்து டாக்டர் சிவாஜி இதுல தான் MMCல தான் இருந்தாரு. He was a cardiologist. இப்ப அவரோட சன் டாக்டர் கணேஷ் என் கிளாஸ்ல படிச்சாரு. வனவாணி ஸ்கூல்ல, வனவாணி அந்த ஸ்கூல்ல. அதுல he is based out of the UK, gastroenterologist.
The gastro கணேஷ் இங்க இருக்காங்க. எஸ்ஜி கேஸ்ட்ரோ அப்படின்ட்டு ஒரு சென்டர் வச்சிருக்காங்க.
ஓகே.
அவரான்னு தெரியல. நான் மேபி
ஒரே பேர்ல நிறைய இருப்பாங்க. இப்ப ஜெயக்குமார் இருக்காங்க.
நான் சொல்றது யூகேல இருக்காரு. அதான் டாக்டர் செந்தில கேட்டேன்.
ஓ யூகேல தெரியாது. இவர் வந்து யூகேல தான் இருந்துட்டு இங்க வந்து செட்டில் ஆயிட்டாரு இப்போ.
ஓகே ஷூர்.
இதுக்கும் தெரியல. ஓகே காட் இட். எனிவே சோ நைஸ். ஆறு பேர் இருந்தாலுமே
ஃப்ரூட்ஃபுல் நைஸ். நான் போன தடவை விட ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்துச்சு.
Definitely. Yeah, very, very valuable. Thank you.
Full session. We'll try to pull in more crowd also. We like Syed Asma was telling some ideas like Writers Cafe or some
maybe
real meet plus hybrid mode we can try. Both in the same something we can try to meet sometime and talk about all this. நான் வேலூர்ல இருக்க பிரச்சனை வீக்கெண்ட் மட்டும் தான் வரேன். So we'll try that anyway. We'll try to catch up.
Sure. Sunday well spent, time well spent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good week ahead. Thank you. Bye bye.
Can we call it end for the meeting?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks. Bye.
Good night. Bye.